Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life and a typical life of an ASB, or an everyday encounter in a typical life of an ASB. Sorry guys, I'm trying to recall everything. As you're fully aware, I'm doing at the moment AS in education, basically in a 4-part series, maybe a 5-part series, if I can get some of my old lecturers, past and present, pretty much, that will know of me in the stories maybe they would like to share, which hopefully will come later on in the year, basically, if I can get them all on board, basically. But in all further ado, these series is based on education, the life before AS, during and after, basically when I was growing up in a young age of basically in kindy to primary to high school to college to transit to uni, where I am presently still there today. As you are fully aware also, though, despite it all, that some of the parts here might be a bit repetitive, but that doesn't matter, hopefully, but hopefully it will just drill into you guys, that it will give you a better, clearer understanding and awareness about me, and maybe some people like me, of how we work together as on the scale of AS. In the last part of part 1, however, welcome to the big world, basically, I was just talking briefly that I was basically brought up, you know, and transitions and had all changes going on when I was young, pretty much moving from one town to the next or city to the next, you know. And that basically, despite it all that, I knew that my parents were doing me a favour, regardless of maybe the bullying and all that was going on, and my, you know, changes that was going on in my life. That basically they did it for benefiting me and hopefully helping me to, you know, do what they felt was best for me, despite what we were going through and every other situations that we were facing, and like normal families would, be it financial stresses, burdens, you know, be it whatever it was. Even though when I was moving up here, up in Palmerston North, which I shouldn't enclose where I am, but I'll do it anyway, that basically when I was in high school doing QEC for only 6 months, I felt I was doing well, pretty much, you know, trying to fit in, and despite it all, you know, but then again, you know, everyone's different. Anyway, in all further ado, let's begin part 2 of the story of education, basically. Let's transit. Here comes the change. Primary school. I don't know the titles yet, but bear with me, guys. Hopefully I'll let you guys know later on in the piece. I realised that I was different leading up to this age or stage when I was coming into, like, from transitioning from kindergarten to primary school. You know, primary school, as we know, basically should be a safe haven for kids, basically, you know. They can have fun and basically be themselves and do what they want to do without any rules and restrictions, even though there are certain rules and restrictions that we need to abide by. Like every other school has that curriculum in place, as well as these rules and guidelines, so that we don't bend the rules too much to the point where they are broken. Even though this day and age, how I say it, that some kids just want to bend the rules, break the rules, whatever, you know, get into trouble, but that's their story, you know, of how they go about living their life. Anyway, I realised that basically I was different leading up to the stage of primary school, to a point where after basically where I was living at the time, being brought up in Hamilton and then moved into Te Awamutu in some of my primary school years, that basically that, you know, it was going to be a slow, steady progress for me, because obviously at that time when I was in that primary school in Te Awamutu, basically I had to have, as I said before, a speech therapist by my side to help me with my language development and whatnot, because obviously at that stage my communication process, fitting things into sentences, weren't that strong as what people that suffers with AS sometimes have. They have communication problems or communication breakdowns or meltdown stages, you know, which pretty much obviously fit me to the T at that time. It was a slow and painful progress, however, but it was well worth it. Like, as I said, then hopefully later in the piece, basically, I'm going to bring more about how you can help kids with AS in their schooling, hopefully in this piece somewhere. But anyway, despite it all, I have nothing wrong in talking so much now, as I'm opening up more, because when I was younger, obviously, I was unsure of myself, being in that bubble for quite some time, or in my shell, you know, being the shy, awkward one, socially awkward, that, you know, basically I felt, you know, people come and go. I made a few friends here and there, even though like when I was in kindergarten to primary, I pretended that I had friends, even though I felt like I was lonely when I was in primary. I just pretended I had, you know, imaginary friends that I could talk to, and that my parents thought I was nuts, you know, thinking that I was talking to myself, you know, at that time. But it's just normal. I feel that, you know, kids my age at that time had imaginary friends. Be it even though that many people may think, you know, oh, she's the crazy one. What is she doing? Is she loopy, or does she need to go to a mental health school? That's what maybe many people might have thought of me at the time to this day, basically. Sometimes now, even though that I call it a cocoon as well as a bubble, or a, you know, what have you, my little safe haven where I can retreat back to, just being myself, trying to be myself regardless. That, you know, in this day and age, peer pressure, you know, at that stage was obviously there, as well as the bullying is always there pretty much to this day. You know, even though I was in my shell bubble or cocoon, basically I felt I was safe regardless what was going on, you know, around me. Sometimes, however, I've learned now, despite socialising in the present, that sometimes many people will come across in my path and will laugh at me, judge me, or just tear me down to the point of basically wanting my input of what maybe they're facing, or a problem that they're facing, or be it like, I don't know, it feels like sometimes I'm a relationship counsellor 1 minute with a one hat relationship counsellor, next minute I've got another hat on that I'm a friend counsellor. Or another hat I wear is basically, to this day, sometimes as a listening ear and shut up and just listen, you know, to those people. I don't mean to put it that way, but that's how it feels, because what I've learned basically when I've been socialising from intermediate high school throughout to now, basically I've got different hats going on, you know, be it whatever it is, like I said before, in the shape shifting, that's how it feels, that I'm wearing different hats to suit that situation of what I'm facing or dealing with of that particular someone in my circle to help them out. Basically, though, I have, from the past and present, in intermediates onwards, now and again, I know it may sound really sad of me, but I felt that in my heart at that time, basically, I wanted to be alone. You know, because fear of what people may say or think about me, regardless of, yeah, okay, I'm different. And that, you know, no matter what though, however, you know, despite being different and all, that I felt that, you know, many people wouldn't pretty much understand me or what have you. I felt to the point of no return. Why should I be repeating myself over and over again how I felt and stuff if people just doesn't want to watch my reactions? Sometimes my reactions doesn't always match fit to what I'm saying, you know, be it if I'm sad. Sometimes, you know, as I was little, you know, at that stage I was struggling with my feelings and emotions to express them in a positive way. Sometimes, most of the time, I'll have my temper tantrums and normal outbursts like any kid would at that age, but then I am now starting to try and release my emotions in a right positive way, and obviously, you know, if I feel the time is right, that with people around me, hopefully many people will understand me to a T, that, you know, I am different, you know, I shouldn't be wired the same way as you guys, or I should be, because I've learned now, I am who I am, accept me for who I am. You can't change me for who I am. I'm the only one that can change students' things, even though many people in my social circle today, as they have in the past, have been pinpointing my faults and stuff, and then I noticed that, okay, I'll embrace my flaws, imperfections and all that, okay, despite it all, you know, many people in that circle of mine may be pinpointing their own faults and flaws that are blinded to see, you know, in them, even though they may think that those flaws and imperfections that they want, of their high expectations of what they want me to be it the, you know, young hipster girl, you know, be it no matter how old I am, having to be in a tight waistcoat or jeans or whatever kind of fashion, you know, be in that fashion sense, but, you know, more on that piece later. I did, however, again try to blend in to a T with these groups in that day and age of, you know, intermediate to high school, which I'm going to probably repeat this in my next part 3 of high school. When I basically was in intermediate, basically I was trying to blend in and fit into the crowd. Like I've learnt basically in that day and age of education that there were always certain cliques, be it geeky, nerdy, bitchy, popular, science, I can't remember what they called the science, people that love science around, sporty, posh, all those label mentalities that came into play, obviously. But then again, basically, I realised though, despite my communication delays and communication breakdowns while growing up, to this day, I'm maturing to a young woman, and I'm starting to now, you know, improve myself in the communication by either A, talking in front of this camera that I'm in at the moment, or B, talking to a mirror. Or even sometimes when I fear that I don't want to talk, I keep a journal on me, on my thoughts, even though, like, my mum especially, if she's watching this, did warn me time and time again, make sure that if I did write my thoughts onto paper that it doesn't get in the wrong hands, because what I've learned basically in my day and age, what I say doesn't always mean what I say. Sometimes I project out the wrong way. Sometimes many people will label me that I'm too hard to understand or whatever. Yeah, okay, I may be too hard to understand for some of yous, but if you give me the time of day to hopefully just explain myself, or give me the chance to at least, you know, be with you and actually socialise with you, because at the end of the day, many people do need a few friends, or a few people that they can call as friends, as they say. If you're lucky enough to have 5 friends on one side of your hand, then you are blessed. Which, to me, I do have a few friends that I can class as friends, or people that are friends, but then, you know, it's just a matter of if I can still trust them to this day. I shouldn't, however, what I've learnt when I've been in primary intermediate stage, I shouldn't have to apologise for my actions and whatnot all the time. Even though, yes, I was the kind of girl that pretty much apologised all the time when I thought I was doing wrong or saying something wrong, when I knew in my heart that, you know, I need to press on and keep moving forward. Like I'm trying to learn today, keep on moving forward regardless of me being so apologetic, being that assertive kind of SB that I am. Even though, yes, in that intermediate stage, I knew I was different, because obviously I was, as I said before, I was diagnosed with ADD before I was clinically diagnosed with this today. I've learned also though, however, basically, I am starting to mature pretty much more into a woman, and then basically that my confidence levels are starting to grow slowly regardless of what I've been through, even though many times, you know, past, present, in my social circle, I have certain people that will knock me down for 6 about my, you know, my looks or how I talk, how I think, and that is not to what they want. But then again, you know, if they don't like it, that's their problem, because at the end of the day, you know, what I feel is in myself is more important than hopefully maybe what they feel. But in the end, at the moment, I'm trying to learn, despite my caring nature, that I need to look after myself as well. Many people know I have been looking out for others around me, and that sometimes those people that's been in my social circle, I feel I'm not appreciated enough or not commended enough for what I've done for them in their lives, be it whatever it is. Sometimes some people will just think that, as I said, go for the glory ride and just forget about, you know, what may have been said and done, even though sometimes it might bite them in the ass later on, hopefully, maybe. I'm the only one, as well as you guys, in control of our lives, regardless what it is, you know, in control of myself, of whatever is said and done. Yes, sometimes I may say something out of the blue, and then in the next minute, I might tend to forget what I said or done. But then again, like many people, I don't know if it's a joke or not, in the past and present, in my social circle said to me, maybe we need a tape recorder to tape record everything that you say and play it back to you, Kieran, so that, you know, see how you sound and how stupid you may sound or whatever it may be. But then again, why should we? You know, in this day and age, how I feel about it is, you know, I shouldn't have a tape recorder, because even though there's invading of privacy for starters, and part of me feels just, I don't like being tape recorded. It's just, ugh, makes me nervous, so to speak, you know. Anyway, I'll say to this, from primary to high school, even though it's supposed to be in my high school chapter, but I'll say it now. From primary to high school, some of the memories that I remember that were really painful, pretty much, and that many children should not have to go through the traumatic experience that I went through of bullying, okay, as I mentioned before. Being bullied and labelled as child, we've got to remember, can ruin the self-esteem, pretty much in the self-worth of that particular child, thinking, having all these label mentalities inside their heads after they're being called these certain names, you know, basically, that idiot, whatever label mentality they had, it can leave an emotional scar for life, and sometimes some of those scars can resurface again like an open wound that hasn't been healed. Like you put a bandage on and pretty much, obviously, that bandage, you know, you need to keep pulling off on, and it's just like, when is it going to stop? You know, that's what I was questioning myself to this day when I was growing up. Being bullied and labelled, as I said, as they grow up to become young adults, some of the labels that children will wear will scar them for life. As I said, we need to be prepared for what is to come of the ones that has been bullied and labelled. Some of the ones that have been bullied and labelled, they may not moan and groan thinking, ugh, or think that label mentality inside them, thinking that they're worthless, hopeless, whatever else that, you know, those people are saying. Some of them might recycle those negativity thoughts and sayings that people have said to them and actually turn them out to positives and shine out and actually achieve more in life. You know, that's what I'm trying to learn right now. Even though I realise now that the bullies are the ones that are basically insecure, jealous, and that of the ones that are moving on, or maybe just jealous and insecure to the point that they don't know where they are in their life and they just want to tear that person down, regardless of the go happy lucky one like me. At that time, I felt that I was having everything put in place in order, that I knew that what I wanted to achieve in life, and then, you know, having certain people that came in my life, like I'll call them Goliaths instead of bullies, that they tear me down to the point that they wanted to ruin my self-esteem and that. But, you know, I'm trying to stand up now, saying enough is enough, you know. What I've realised though, many young children at my age, at that stage, basically, when they were being labelled and bullied, that I felt that in my heart that they can do better, regardless of their situations, especially the ones that were bullying that person. I've realised now to this day that even though sometimes you can't be friends with everyone, but I try my hardest just to smile and just help those ones that may need the help, regardless, even though they didn't ask for help in the first place. Even though, yeah, okay, someone in my social circle at the moment said to me, well, I've been bullied and that wants to start fights with me, you know, when I question them, why are you doing this to me, or what is your problem, that they think it's going to escalate to another level. But I feel if you approach the bullies in the right way, that basically, you know, hopefully it will just diffuse the situation. It's depending on how you react to that situation also to get that action response that you want, I feel anyway. But then again, you know, many people deal with this in a weird way sometimes. Yes, I was bullied most of the time, and that despite bullying going on, I thought that maybe I could at least stand up for myself to these bullies. I know that violence is not the answer to any problem in life. It's sometimes the biggest way for some things that does happen is just to either walk away or ignore the situation, or just to approach the problem, depending on, you know, how big or small that problem may be when it arises. How we choose to respond to anything that comes our way is up to us, but we need to learn from our mistakes as well as the repercussions later on of what may happen or did happen in that present time. However, I did not let the bullies win for their wars. What did they do to me? And I decided to become a survivor and conquer through everything that I went through. Anyway, before I go on, I better add this in, since I forgot to add this in the kindergarten level of part 1. Meanwhile, while I was in kindergarten, as I said, I didn't have many friends, and I felt that sometimes, you know, not being able to blend in or socialise, you know, sometimes kids at a young age may want to find their way in the world to fit in and blend in on this clique or psych or whatever the case may be. You know, so then I just, as I said, kept to myself. I did, however, try to socialise with the kids of my age group. You know, despite it all, of knowing there was something